Welcome, everybody. We are going to be writing once again for Writing Sprint Wednesday. So I hope you're ready to start rolling. We have here. I'll add this to the stage. There we go. So we have a Word Sprint link that you can click. I will actually paste it in the comments as well. You can find comments on YouTube and Facebook. If you're on X or Twitter, then you will have to go there, go to Facebook or YouTube to find the link to join the Word Sprint. You can also just write wherever you are writing. Today will just be one 20-minute sprint just to get things rolling. It'll have to be a little bit shorter just because I've got a crazy day. But just like any other crazy day, you've got to get writing in at some point. So, we'll be starting here in 3.5 minutes. So, excited to get started here. If everyone is on YouTube, if anyone is on YouTube or Facebook, if you want to add into the comments what you are writing, what project are you working on, and just let me know. I'd love to hear that. And then we will get started here shortly. So again, if you want to join the Word Sprint, then Word Sprint is just a free tool that we here at Dabble have created, and it gives you the opportunity to write with friends. It will keep track of your word count, how many participants, what the word count average is, and what your group word count is. So if you want to hop in there, you can. You can also choose to write on a napkin if you want. It's completely up to you. So, yeah. I think for today, I'm going to keep working on what I started last time, which is just kind of a new story that just came to me as I was thinking through just some fun, cultural elements of world building for a fantasy story. And so I'm going to kind of keep writing from that perspective. But yeah, looks like we've got a couple people tuning in, and we will be starting here in about 2 minutes. And again, it'll just be one 20-minute sprint today. So the premise of this is just to write as much as you can in 20 minutes and just get as far as you can in whatever project you are working on. And so backspace is still allowed, but not encouraged. Just let the words flow. And we are getting ready here. All right. If you are just joining us, then we are about to start our writing sprint. So you'll be able to see the timer here. It's a 20-minute sprint. You'll be able to see the timer here. If you want to join our word sprint and have your words counted, then you can click the link. But it's also fully encouraged to just write in your current project. That way you don't have to do any copy and pasting. So completely up to you. But we are getting started here in about 30 seconds. This will be boring video to watch, but you shouldn't be watching, you should be writing. So definitely get ready to roll here. Okay. All right. Hey, so let's do this. Hey, Ilsa. Yep. Happy writing, everyone. Let's get to it. Snipey to sniper. Words. The words count no matter where you are. So be sure to get writing. That's all that matters. Yeah, sorry. We started a bit later today, Ilsa, because today's been a little crazy. So we'll try and start them a bit earlier. But you should definitely get some sleep. All right, time is up. Celeste says they got a late start. Just finished cleaning my incense burner. Hey, it happens. But any words count. Yeah, that was a fun session. I feel like I made some good progress. How did everyone else do? Were you able to get some words down on the page? I got 610 in 20-minute sprint. I added the last two just to finish the sentence. But how's everyone else? Everyone seems to be finishing up the sentences that they're writing. Yeah. That's insane. I don't know. Every time that I've done these writing sprints, Hank and Doug usually tune in. It's a bit later for them as well, so they weren't able to join us this time. But Hank and Doug both write faster than I do, so I feel like my writing pace isn't that quick. But it's all in context, right? Like anytime that I'm writing a dialogue heavy scene, it usually slows me down like crazy. But yeah. But yeah, if you're just tuning in or if you turned in during the quiet writing time, this is our Writing Sprint Wednesdays. We get together and just write for 20 minutes, 15 minutes. Sometimes we do 2 sprints. Today we're just doing 1 just because I've got a busy day today. But yeah, that's we do it every Wednesday just to give you an excuse to write. And, it's more fun to write together. Celeste says, I'm at the editing stages, so maybe 2 paragraphs. Well, that's totally fair. 2 paragraphs is 2 paragraphs of editing is way harder than writing the first chapter of a story. That's another thing. This is like a first chapter. I'm just spitting out new ideas, and so I don't have any specific direction or anything. I'm more of a pantser when it comes to writing, so I'll write by the seat of my pants rather than planning things out. By the time I get to my middle chapters, when I have a couple plot lines and characters to juggle, then usually I'm much slower in my writing pace as well. So Celeste says that they're the opposite with dialogues and that they speed through them. That's great. I think every writer has their own strengths. So I think it depends on the characters too. If I have a good feel of who the characters are and what they're driven by, what they're motivated by, then I think it's way easier to write that dialogue. But sometimes I'll find myself in a scene just saying like, and then I'll have them talk to a shopkeep, and then I think, I'll just go through this conversation really quick, and then the conversation drags on, or I just don't know who the shopkeep is because they're just like they're like an NPC in the background kind of thing. So yeah. Yeah, Celeste says the difficult ones are when I have to dig into monologuing and thoughts. Yeah. Well, I mean, the, the good news is, Celeste, typically monologuing and I think Brandon Sanderson calls it navel gazing, where your character is just looking down at their belly button and thinking to themselves. It's usually that's usually one of the weakest forms of writing in terms of like what to write. Usually usually navel gazing is to reveal some kind of internal conflict or internal thoughts, right? And there's almost always a better way to do it. It's not that you shouldn't ever have kind of those internal monologue moments where your character is just interacting with no one and just kind of thinking through a process, because those can be valuable scenes, but it's almost always better to reveal it through some sort of action or some sort of conflict, or even in dialogue. Kind of back to that show don't tell kind of thing. It's better, like, instead of somebody thinking to themselves, man, I'm so hungry, just show them like eyeing the bowl of porridge in the room, that someone else is eating, and just eyeing it with with longing. Like, that's way more visceral and way more effective than just them telling themselves. But yeah, Celeste says they are a plotter and they cannot pants, and I respect that. I wish I was more of a plotter. I'm trying to reform myself into more of a plotter, because a lot of my stories I get stuck in Act 2, and then I can't ever escape. So I end up being in trouble because of that. But Celeste says, show don't tell is my weakness. I think it's every writer's weakness. I think it's just so much easier to, especially in a first draft, like, don't stress about it. I think it's better to just get things down on the page. All this advice on, like, what's the best form in communicating internal desires and things like that. All of that is usually best handled in the editing phase anyways, where you can think through, like, okay, my character spent 2 pages just thinking to themselves, how can I make this a bit stronger? Can I have this kind of be revealed in a dialogue, in a conflict, or anything else like that? So Celeste says, I swear, show don't tell comes so naturally to some pantser friends. Yeah, again, like, I was in a writing group once, and I had a member of the writing group that it was his first draft, but his prose was just incredible. Like, the stuff he was turning into the writing group, like, all of us were just in awe of what he would turn in. We're just like, this is basically publishable at this point. And it was super frustrating, but also super inspiring. It's kind of that relationship where he was awesome. He was an awesome member of the group. His feedback was always really, really good, really in depth. But yeah, for some people, it just comes really naturally. I'm not one of those people. And so totally enviable. Exactly. But I'm not one of those people, but it is, it doesn't mean that he's a better writer. It just means that he has a different process. And I am a strong proponent that practice is what matters most with your writing process. The more that you practice things, the more that you edit your own work and root out some of those weaknesses, the better you'll get at not making those same mistakes in your first draft, right? And so, yeah. Celeste says maybe it comes with experience too, and I think that's totally accurate. I think that the more that you write, the more that you'll see your weaknesses, and you'll be able to kind of root them out. There's even just like the words that you use most often, right? Like, I can't remember what my tell words are, right? I have a couple words. I know that for Brandon Sanderson, I took one of Brandon's classes, and he was mentioning that one of his words was maladroitly. He just loved to use the word maladroitly, and his editor would make fun of him anytime that it came up. I've read the Expanse series. It's a great sci-fi series. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it, by James S.A. Corey. But something that stuck out to me in those books is companionable silence. Like, that's just that term like keeps coming up, where it's just like 2 characters sat in companionable silence. Like, they're just happy to be in the room together, but also quiet. And I'm like, man, it's just like, I don't know. There's some joke to be made about just the sheer amount of companionable silence in the Expanse series. But yeah, we all have our favorite. We all have our pet words, and we all have our pet errors that will make it into our manuscripts. But that's the point of a first draft, is just to be a first draft. Just get it out there, and that's why we do these writing sprints. So hopefully everyone was able to make some progress on your projects, and it was fun. And thanks for joining us. I hope that we catch you next week and for our other awesome events. And yeah, thanks for coming, and we will catch you later. Celeste says, my editor commented on how I love pursing my character's lips. Yeah, exactly. Things like that, where it's just like, we've pursed their lips 10 times in this chapter. Maybe let's try a different expression. But yeah, Thanks, Celeste. I'm glad you had a fun time. And yeah, we'll catch you next week. Thanks, everybody.